Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Thirdman. I always take this opportunity to say thank you guys for watching. Today, I'm talking to a man who needs no introduction. Tatenda Taibu. Welcome, brother. How are you doing?
Doing great, thank you. How are you?
I am fine. First of all, thank you for being part of the Thirdman. It means a lot when I have a chance to speak to legends like yourself.
Thank you, thanks.
Right. Let's start from Trent. Recently, we saw you ringing the bell to get the first day underway. How did it feel, and what did that mean to you as a former Zimbabwe cricket captain?
I think anyone who lives on earth and does something that they would have worked hard for um, would enjoy an opportunity to be recognized, especially after you've left whatever you've been doing, and people still remember. In my case, in cricket, they'll still remember the runs, they'll still remember the catches that I took, the leadership that I provided when I was a leader. So when you get recognized, I'm sure everyone would like to be recognized at some point or another.
Yeah, it must have been special to have your son as well next to you in that significant and sort of historic moment.
Well, that goes without saying. When you see your sons following in your footsteps, and what I really love about that is um, I never forced cricket onto them. They just started loving the game, especially during COVID. And to see my younger one really starting to show signs of going to be a professional is something that is always heartwarming. It's something that actually drove me from leaving my sport in Papua New Guinea, so that I would concentrate more on coaching him. And I've actually started playing some games as well, so that I play with him. Because when you are coaching someone and you're outside, you then give him a debrief after the game, and you say, in a situation like this, you could have done that, and you should have done that, and things like that. But that moment is already past. But if I'm playing with him, say I'm betting with him, I think a few Saturdays ago, I had a partnership. I had a 180 partnership with him. So and when we're actually playing together, and I say to him, okay, in this case, this is the shots that you play. So now they've spread the field. So you want to get singles. So this is how you get singles. And he starts to do that straight away. That way is a bit quicker than when you're debriefing a person, after the game. So obviously standing with him and knowing that he's got potential to actually become a professional cricketer is obviously special. It was special to see him smile, during that moment. And his favorite player is Joe Root, and
Oh,
he
yeah.
managed to get to have a conversation with him, and to get a few pictures with him, and that was special for him. Because he's got Joe Root's pictures on his in his bedroom, and
Oh, yeah.
so that also just put the icing on the cake for him on the day.
You mentioned playing. Who are you playing for, and what league is that?
So we're playing in the Nottingham League. So we're playing for a club called Hooveringham. So he's 15. He's just turned 15. So we want to really just I just want to build with him. Yeah, so he's doing well. He's doing well. He's just scored 150, a 50 so far, and he's got a couple of 30s. So he's doing well. And also in school, he's had a couple of 50s not out, because I think yeah, they still retired 50 in school, because of the length of the games. So
Mm.
just before I left, because obviously, as you mentioned earlier, I'm in Zimbabwe at the moment. And just before I left to come over here, we just had a call from the headmaster saying that Derbyshire County is interested in him. So that's obviously great news that we received as a family.
Nice. That is beautiful to hear. It's amazing to hear another Taibu coming along the way. I think you mentioned also like at Trent, you could see people were delighted to see you. I remember seeing people wanting to take pictures of you and taking pictures with you. I think it shows the impact you made during your playing days.
Yeah, I think I've been lucky in the sense that I just get liked in all the countries. Even a prophet is not is without honor in his country, isn't it? But even here, over here in Zimbabwe, I still meet people that want to chat about cricket, and especially after after the record-breaking crowds that were there at Trent Bridge. A lot of people are still talking about that test match, that one-off test match, which was really great. I think we should, as a country, we should build on that. I think there's a scope to be able to do more of such because I was speaking to the chairman at Trent Bridge, and he was saying that I think they had estimated 10,000 crowds, 10,000 per day, and the crowds hit 17,000.
Wow.
So and obviously you were at the ground, you could see the Zim flags were really polishing the whole place. So I really think there's scope to to build on such success.
Let's go back to history. Was cricket an obvious career and path for you growing up?
No. Cricket wasn't. Football was. I was a sports person. I was a real sports person. But my first love was football. My first love wasn't cricket. However, after realizing that I was also good in cricket, but not really realizing, but being told, it was more, Stephen Mangongo, who was our coach then, really putting pressure on us and saying that you are actually good at this sport. And so after believing him and also, seeing the success that I was having on the cricket field, I had a little bit of a tug of war between the two sports.
Oh, yeah.
And I was always trying to see how I can balance the two. Now, those that know Stephen Mangongo, which you all do, you would practice, 5 days of the week. So there was no time for me to go to football. So there are times that I would get into trouble for running away from cricket, and I would go to football, and they would send someone to chase after me, and such like. And I carried on playing football up until my first year in high school at Churchill. So what happened was there was again a tug of war between getting a scholarship with cricket or getting a scholarship with football, because I was going to get, I could have gotten a scholarship through football as well.
What
And
position
to
did
the
you
same,
play in football?
I played forward right wing. So
All right.
it was mainly seven, but I used to switch from 7 to 8.
All right.
So yeah, so I was more forward, but on the right wing. And but I preferred my cricket friends to my football friends. My
Okay.
football friends were kind of rowdy and, naughty boys, whereas my cricket friends were calm, they were respectful. And I think it just comes with the sport. And I'm not a rowdy person. I'm a calm and like to be in respectable places. Dress decently and don't speak foul language and things like that. So I was more inclined towards cricket than football, and that's when I made a decision that I wasn't going to continue with football. Then I took up rugby and squash at that time.
Oh, yeah. When the success started coming, obviously being the youngest test captain at that point, did you realize what it meant, or you were just a young boy playing cricket, not really understanding the impact and the history behind that as well?
Yeah, I didn't really understand the history, or not the history. I didn't really understand the impact of it. I was, as you rightly mentioned, I was just a young boy enjoying my cricket, and I was understanding that I was really improving, and I was improving quickly. That part I understood, but I knew that I was still far off because sport is a game of numbers. And if yes, to the world, I was doing so well. I was breaking, a record, so to speak, because I made the team, made the squad at the age of 16. Started playing, made my debut, being on tour with the national team, and almost made a debut just as I turned 17 when I was in England. So
And you had a very good under-19 World Cup, I think, as well. An amazing under-19 World Cup.
yes, that was what got me to break into the national team. So it was mainly the report that I got from post-Trent, because he was our coach. He was recovering from his injury, and he was asked to take us as a coach, and he gave a massive report on me, and he simply said, if Zimbabwe Cricket is looking for someone who's going to take over the gloves from Andy Flower, this is the guy, look no further. So, and they thought, well, why waste time? If a national player can quickly see that even at his age. Look, I was 2 years underage. I was betting number 3, and I was with the gloves, and I came back as the high scorer in our side. So and so that you could see the potential, and so could a lot of other people that were in important places that could make things happen. So, but when I was given the captaincy, it was happening too fast. I knew things were happening fast for me, but that was happening too fast for me to realize the impact that it had, even just simply the impact that it had on cricket as a whole in the country, where, kids used to play football in the streets, and it started changing because, I'm told that people were saying, parents were saying to their kids, you can be like Tatenda Taibu, because I'd also bought a
Amazing.
house. I'd also bought my first house, and not long after that, I bought my second house. So they could see the money that was there in sport, which normally in our country, sport was, okay, you don't do sport, you do education. That's the way of success. But sports gets you nowhere. And then they see someone who's doing well in sport, and they are doing well, financially. And that then, started to make an impact, a major impact in the country.
Yeah. And then what's your favorite memory then from playing for Zimbabwe? For a short time, if you should say, because I felt like you played long, I guess.
Yeah, my favorite moments, I've got several. I've got a lot. Uh, I remember, beating Australia in a T20 World Cup. I didn't particularly play well in that game, but for me, it was always team first.
Yeah.
And obviously, beating Australia in the opening game of the tournament was obviously pretty special. Another one that comes to mind is obviously your debut is also is always a special moment when you wear that green cap, and you play your debut. So my 2 debuts, both against West Indies. So obviously one day cricket, and then a few months later Test cricket. So those were special as well. And there are also other moments that come to mind straight away. So you've obviously heard this, the statement or of the phrase playing in the zone.
Yeah.
So my first game when I played in the zone, so in the zone is when everything is completely blanked out of your mind, and all you can see is a cricket ball. And I lie to you not, you can see how it's rotating. It doesn't matter how fast the bowler is. It doesn't matter how little a spinner is. You see it like in slow motion. I mean, obviously you'd have watched movies, and you see, when people then zoom everything and everything just goes quiet. And you can see, normally they show it on golf, and you see everything just blanks out, and it's just that one ball. So my first experience of that was when it was the second ODI against South Africa, 2007. I scored 40 in that game, and that was my first experience of being in the zone. So because of that, that is obviously a special moment. Some partnerships that I had along the way. When you have partnerships with people that you are quite close with. My partnership with Stuart Matsikenyere against West Indies at Harare Sports Club. That one stands out because years before that, in 1995, we were watching Pakistan. We're just little boys watching Pakistan play against Zimbabwe. And we kind of say to each other, won't it be nice that one day we'll be playing together on that field? So it was Stuart's debut, a test debut, and I betted with him, and he got a 50. I also got a 50 later. So that was special in that sense. I think also partnerships that I had with Brandon Taylor. I used to enjoy betting with Brandon Taylor. I also enjoyed betting with Andy Flower the few times that we betted together. With Andy Flower, it's not so much about the results, but there is no player that I've been with who is so detailed and was so on the trail like Andy Flower. So he would say, now, this bowler who's coming, watch out for this and that and that. And so he would tell you those things just the same way that I was explaining to you that I'm doing with my son is what he used to do. So you would not learn by mistakes. You would not learn when you're out in the changing room. You would learn whilst you're actually playing. You say, okay, this is Sacklane. When you see a white pin on the ball, it means it's this ball. When you see a ball that has got so much energy, that ball is a dusra. Don't play for anything else but a dusra. If the ball loops like this, it's going to bounce a little bit more. And if, when Shoaib was starting to reverse the ball and Waka Yunis, he would say, okay, so the ball is reversing. The danger way to get out now is getting bowled or getting out LBW. If you get caught, don't worry about it. So play for the ball that's coming in.
Now, it's not surprising how he's become one of the top coaches in the world, is it? Andy Flower.
Oh, no. Oh, no, it's not surprising at all because as a player, he used to coach as a player. I remember like the ones I'm telling you personally because I used to practice with him. My first tour, he used to say, Tiba, you are not going anywhere. This is after practice. We will go back with the van that used to carry the bags. So the coach that would have all the players would go back, and it was mainly Andy, myself, and Pomi Mbangwa. Mbangwa never used to practice. He would just be chatting and we'll be talking cricket because he loves his cricket. Because whatever drills we'll be doing was betting, and Pomi was obviously a master bowler, but not nothing with betting. But he used to stay behind because he had a good relationship with Andy. And so I would learn a lot from him. And he'll say, what do you think about this? Let's try to do this. So if we try to do this, what happens? So you'd always be a step ahead, always. Another example is when we played the 2003 World Cup. So the preparations before that, he says, there aren't a lot of leg spinners in this tournament. Then he says, Brian Murphy, you could be one of the best players in the tournament if you learnt the ball. So let's have a program. Every day you're going to bowl 10 overs, and this is after practice. So you would bowl 10 overs, and Andy will be marking where he's pitched the ball. So he's a player. He is part of the team. But after practice, he's marking where Brian Murphy is bowling the ball. And Brian Murphy bowled well in that tournament. And he saw that was what would be the trump card for getting so far into the tournament. And it wasn't a surprise for me when Collins Obuya, who was another leg spinner in Kenya, actually stepped onto the world of cricket in that tournament. So he had this vision. I always refer him as a pathfinder because who would have known that leg spin was going to be a trump card in that tournament, and it was. So he's always been a step ahead of others. And as you rightly mentioned, it's no surprise.
Yeah, so I can safely say you retired early because you retired early because it's so much talent, you had a lot to give. Do you have any regrets about that?
I think if you don't have any regrets in life, I think you'll be a person who doesn't who doesn't um, assess yourself. You always have to continue to see how you can better yourself as a person. And obviously, when you look back and you think you could have done this and that in this way, I think that is accompanied with regret. If it's not accompanied with regret, then it means that you actually didn't care about it. So it's like getting into bed and you get out and you don't care that you've gotten out. It means that you didn't really care. So when you get out and there is a certain disappointment that comes with it because you actually do care. So yes, when I look back, there are certain things that I think I could have done this in this way. I could have done that in that way. Um, and obviously that is accompanied with regret. So I think there are times when I kept to myself in the team changing room because uh, like if I know something, if I know and I'm 100% sure, the way I think it goes with age as well, because the way I would say it or the way I would bring it across was quite kind of forceful. Like, this is the way we have to go. Can't you see? Like, I expected everyone to be able to see that this is the right way. So my approach there was a little bit forceful, which with age, I think I could have taken a different approach and try to make people to see. Because what I assumed was everyone would be seeing what I'm seeing. But with age now, I understand that, okay, someone can see something, that is a mile away when someone can't. But if you take someone by the hand and you say, you know what, this is what we're trying to hit, this is how we can hit it, and you let them see it, I think I would have had more results in the changing room. I could have given more of my knowledge in the game. I think yeah. So I think I'm very opinionated. When I've got an opinion, I don't let it die. Actually really mention it and I really make everyone know that that's my opinion.
All right.
And so I think what I could have done differently, I'm talking both in the changing room and even with administrators. I think I could have, tried to be a bit more softer in my approach. I think that could have helped in a lot of ways.
Do you still follow Zimbabwe cricket? And are you?
Oh, yeah, I do.
Are you
Zimbabwe is my country. Zimbabwe is
yes.
my country, and that will never change. So yes, I do follow. I do watch when I'm not busy. I do watch. I actually, my wife sometimes watches with me. Um, so yeah, I do follow. I can tell the ones that are doing well. I can tell the ones that are, that could be doing better than they are doing. I can tell who's got the bright future and things like that. I haven't met them, but with the no- with the with my knowledge of cricket, I can easily tell such.
Obviously, you had a stint as a selector some time back. We don't know the future. Any chance maybe you might work with Zimbabwe cricket again?
I think that's inevitable.
Mm.
I think that's inevitable because look, I'm as I did mention, I'm Zimbabwean, and I've got a lot of knowledge to pass on to the future generation. Um, so at some point in time, that's going to happen. At whatever capacity, but it will happen at some stage.
So you mentioned Papua New Guinea earlier. Is that chapter done? Because we saw you coaching the team, and
Mm.
now I think earlier you mentioned now you're sort of focusing on spending time with the family and coaching your youngster. Is the Papua New
Yeah.
Guinea
So
coaching gig done?
yeah. So we did. I did well with them, and I felt that it was time for me to move on. Um, Yes, we qualified for the World Cup, for the T20 World Cup in the Caribbean. And all things being equal, we could have won against the in our opening game against West Indies. I think we made two major errors. I think the captain made two errors in decisions. One, LBW showed that he didn't review of Nicholas Poran. That could have had us, would have had West Indies two down. And, that would have been two down for 11 on a difficult wicket. We had scored almost to 140. I think we're at 138, if my memory serves me right. And then we went off because of rain. And then when we came back, Nicholas Puran just started smashing because the wicket was really difficult. So, but he was still not being successful when he was smashing. And then the captain made an error. Instead of continuing to bowl with Ale, who was bowling really well, who actually had him out, LBW, which was given not out, which he should have reviewed. He then stopped him from bowling, and he gave a part-time spinner to bowl the sixth over of the power play. So if he wanted to bowl spin, he could have brought himself up because he's a better spinner than obviously a part-time bowler. And that was the second error that he made. And that over went for 17. I'm sorry, it went for 19. So we still had control over the game. And then we dropped an easy catch at point, I think towards the 14th over. And from there, they took control over the game. So after that, I just, look, truth be told, look, I've coached in Bangladesh, I've coached in India, I've coached in Pakistan, I've coached in Papua New Guinea, I've coached in England. And wherever I've coached, I always get results. In Bangladesh, there are two kids that broke the national record. One of my under 14 kids got 215, which is the new record for their national competition. And one of my under 19 players got 320 not out, which is the new national record. And then the Pakistani under 19 team that went to the World Cup, I coached, I helped to coach them. And they got into the semi-finals. They almost beat Australia. And then obviously the recent, making the Papua New Guinea qualify and the stints that I had there. I'm always thinking, I'm doing this and I'm getting other players better. What about my country? So that is always at the back of my mind, and it's something that I can't shake off. And that's why I say, at some point that will definitely happen.
Let's talk IPO. When you played IPO, you made history yourself, and now we see Blessing doing well. Raza also played. How does it make you feel when you see? Because IPO has become a top recognition for any player in the world right now.
Mm-hmm. Well, obviously, yeah. When you start the path for others to follow, it's always special. But what I've recognized and what I think, other Zimbabweans need to know is, when you make such teams and you make such positions, it's important to keep those positions, or to be there for longer, or to keep working hard to be there for longer. So why that is important is because, say, when I was there for KKR, someone got injured. I don't remember someone got injured, and the team started looking for an all-rounder. So the first people that were asked are the people within the changing room. So I remember putting Elto Chigumbura as an option. So if no one from Zimbabwe is there to actually pinpoint someone else, then you're not going to open a door. You're not going to open doors for other players. So it's very important for people like Blessing Zarabani, because right now it's only Blessing that's there. So it's important for him to stay there. Right now he's just opened the door. It's important for him to keep working hard and to get in there and to start making a proper mark, so that when there's an opportunity to mention another player, there's also a Zimbabwean that you would have been part of in the changing room, and you say, oh, there's this guy who can do a job. And then, and then another player comes and another player comes. And that's how you then also strengthen your own national team, because more players are being tested, under the heat of IPL, which is stronger, which has been strong for years. So, I mean, you look at India cricket as a whole, they've just improved by miles. Why? Because of the IPL.
Right. To conclude now, there are youngsters watching. I always want to give a word for youngsters every interview. I feel like people who get a chance to watch these interviews for young people, what can you share with them about cricket in general or life? I know youngsters out there also want to play the game at the highest level, but some of them don't know how they can get there. What sort of advice would you share with them?
Look, I think to begin with, I think playing professional cricket is not particularly difficult. That's number one. I'm talking if you've got the talent. So obviously the first thing is, do you have the physical ability to be able to do this? And then do you have the technical, the technical ability to be able to do this? And then you also have the tactical side of the game, your game awareness. And then also, do you have the mental strength? When you are knocked down, do you have resilience to be able to get up again? Are you a person who fears to get into a fight? Or what is your approach when you're knocked down, and what is your approach when you're on top? So once you've got those four aspects, it's very easy to play international cricket. What is difficult now is to be a good human being when you are now playing international cricket. That is what is difficult. So for any youngsters that are out there, I think what's more important is, number one, to look at your character first before the player. I think as a player, you can play and do well, but if you've got the right character, then that has got continuity, because as a player, you only play, and then at some point you will have to leave that sport. But if you've got the right character, that can then be passed on in whatever way, whether it's coaching, whether it's humanitarian, whatever other capacity. Otherwise, if you just concentrate on the player, after the player finishes, then the person also could struggle, because cricket or whatever sport would have been everything. But if you work on the person, and the person if you work on being a good person first before you become a good cricketer or a good sports person, then there's a bit more continuity.
Nice one. Tatenda Taibu, thank you so much for being part of this program. I really appreciate this.
Thank you, John.
All right, thank you very much.